Over the past year, U.S. tech giants have laid off thousands of workers amid a global economic slowdown. The impact of higher interest rates and slower than expected growth have brought some of Silicon Valley's high-flying companies down to earth. The tech slowdown affecting other areas of the economy as well, such as commercial real estate. Ira Spitzer reports from San Francisco.
Silicon Valley is the place where tech dreams become reality. Entrepreneurs from around the world have come here for years, looking for their own pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
On Friday,
but it's been a rough year for U.S. tech.
The FDIC took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets.
Federal regulators have had to rescue Silicon Valley Bank, an important player in the tech ecosystem. Big names like Google, Meta, and many others have laid off tens of thousands of employees.
A lot of companies became bloated over the last 3 years for some good reason, because we saw a lot of spiking demand, of course, as we all had to sequester at home.
When that demand tapered off, tech firms started laying people off in droves. According to the site layoffs.fyi, around 150,000 people were laid off in the first quarter of this year, accelerating a trend that began in the second half of 2022. The uncertainty in the tech industry is affecting other areas of the local economy as well.
Commercial real estate in San Francisco was already suffering due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now it faces more challenges, with tech firms reducing their headcounts and looking to cut costs.
The city's office vacancy rate ended last year at close to 28%. That's around 7 times higher than it was in 2019, when big tech seemed unstoppable.
You know, the big tech players had their choice and could take control of buildings and spaces. They had the money, they had the financing, they had the profits. It didn't matter to them. They would pay $150 a square foot if that's what it took, just so that they could keep their employees in one place, they could keep them happy.
For a region whose fortunes have been tied to tech for several decades, it's a reminder that things can and do change. But for all the doom and gloom, few are writing off Silicon Valley just yet.
In 2000, when the dot-com bubble burst, we lost about something like 25% of all tech labor. We're nowhere near that at the moment. I think part of that also has to do with the fact that tech is now woven through almost every other industry. I mean, name anything, even things like agriculture, for instance, right? We just mentioned healthcare tech or health tech, edutech. Everything is now pervaded with technology. And so that means there is more demand throughout the economy for tech product. There's also more demand for tech talent.
Despite the layoffs, the U.S.'s big tech companies remain among the world's most valuable firms. They can use those coffers to invest heavily in things like artificial intelligence that could shape the coming decades. But in a higher interest rate environment, with markets rewarding cost cutting, those who dreamed of working in big tech may do well to broaden their horizons. Ira Spitzer, CNA, San Francisco.